Hi guys, it's Nikki, Creative Nikki's Homemade Crafts. Today I would like to teach you how to always get a straight edge. No matter what stitch you use of the basic stitches, how do you get a straight edge? Now it works for other stitches too, but I'm going to just focus on the basic stitches because you're going to learn so much from it. You should be able to handle that with the other stitches as well. Okay, so I'm going to try to be strategic and try to focus on one step at a time for you guys, because I'm assuming the reason you're watching this is because you're a beginner. Okay, so let's start out with this. So we have multiple basic stitches, and I'm just going to focus on the first three, which is single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet. There's also treble crochet, quite often used, but I'm not going to focus on that right now, because once you get the hang of the first three, you will figure out the fourth one and all the other bigger ones very easily. And be sure to check out the link I have in the description, because that will give you a little bit more information, stuff that I don't cover here in a video, that includes, tables that can help you focus on things, as well as photos and all kinds of other information and links that make you become the best crocheter out there. Okay, so I have just here a simple chain, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 chains, okay? So let me teach you the first part. It's similar to a formula, okay? So if you're watching this, you should know what a single crochet is, half double crochet, or double crochet, okay? So most of the people have trouble getting this straight because they don't know exactly where to put the stitch, how many stitches do I have, and also what is the turning chain count? That means how many chains do I make in order to go into the next stitch, or starting the next stitch from the next row. So here's a little trick that I like to do, and that should help you. Okay, so there's the first two, which is single crochet and half double crochet, and then there's double crochet. Now I do a chain of 1 as a turning chain for single crochet and half double crochet. So here's how this works, okay? So if you yarn over, then you're either going to go, if you yarn over once, you're going to go into half double crochet or double crochet, right? So let me show you single crochet. Okay, single crochet, I'm going to go in the back bump. So here's the V, and then in the back there you see a little bump. That's the back bump. Okay, so I'm going into that, so I have the V on the bottom. It looks prettier that way. So I have a chain of 1, and from the second chain from the hook, so 1, 2, that's where I'm going in with the single crochet. Okay, like that. So now I'm going to go and keep going. See that? Very easy. So I did a chain of 10 in total in the beginning, and because I had a chain of 1 for the turning, that means I should have 9 stitches. Okay, 9 stitches. So let's see if I really do have 9 stitches. So I'm just going to keep going. I'm always going in a back bump. Okay. And then you see I have 2 more right here. Here's 1 bump. Excuse me. And then here's 1 more right here, right before where the knot is. Okay, so let's count. Do I have 9 stitches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now this is where people get confused. This is the 9th stitch. Look how straight it is. This on the side does not count. That's the turning chain. So here's where it ends. Okay, so when you know you have 9 stitches, and most patterns will tell you how many stitches you have per row or round, then make sure you count and you stay with that stitch count that it tells you to stay in. Okay, so I'll get to the formula I just mentioned in just a second. Okay, so I do a chain of 1, and now I'm not going to count that 1, okay, as a stitch. So that means I'm going again to the second chain or second stitch from the hook. 1, 2. That's where I'm going into to do my single crochet. Okay, that's it. So let me tell you exactly what I'm talking about with the formula I just mentioned. And this is how you can figure out how many stitches you need. At least that's how I do it, and most people who do not count the first stitches are doing it exactly that way, but they might not think about that formula. Okay, so here's what I'm trying to think about. So if I go through here and have my loop up from that stitch, how many times do I yarn over until I finish the stitch? Once. You see that? One time. So let me do that again. So you pull up your loop, okay? Now how many times after you pulled up the loop, this is always after you pulled up that loop from that stitch, how many times do you yarn over and go through to finish the stitch? One time, okay? So let me show you a half double crochet for a second, because some people might get confused with that, okay? So I yarn over first, okay? I go through and pull up the loop. I don't care how many I have right here, how many loops on my hook. It doesn't matter. How many times do I have to yarn over to finish the stitch? Look, one time, even for a half double crochet. One time. Let me show you that again. Okay, you're gonna go through, you pull up your loop. Okay, how many times? I'm yarning over, going one time through. So that means even for half double crochet, I use chain of one as a turning chain. Let me show you for a second a half double crochet, okay? A double crochet I meant. So yarn over once, I'm gonna pull up my loop, right? So now here's a little different. So watch this, yarn over, go through two, that's the first one, yarn over, go through two. So I had to yarn over twice to finish my stitch, which means for double crochet, I'm going to use a chain of two in order to turn in the beginning, that turning chain. Okay, let me show you the one more time. Okay, I have my loops on my hook. Now yarn over once, go through two. Yarn over twice, go through two. See, two times. That means two chains in the beginning of the row when you have a double crochet. Now triple. Let me show you triple ones. Yarn over once, yarn over twice, yarn over third time. That means I'm going to use 3 chains in order to do a turning chain for a treble crochet. Okay, so do you see how this formula works? Very easily. Okay, let me show you one more time and then I'm going to go back. So this is treble. So I'm going to pull up my loop from my stitch that I'm working on. Okay, now yarn over once, go through two. Yarn over second time, go through two. Yarn over the third time, go through two. Now I'm done with that stitch. That means 3 times, 3 turning chains in the beginning of a treble crochet row. Okay, let me go back because I want to make sure this is just single crochet right here. Okay, so let me go back all the way to the beginning of this row. Okay, so undo a chain of 1 because I'm doing single crochets. Okay, so ignoring that chain, whatever's your turning chain, ignore it, and you go into the first one. Okay, like that. This is your single crochets. Okay, now I'm going to tell you one more thing. I don't like doing it that way because it creates a gap, but I'm going to still show it to you because it's important for you to know. So some people don't like using the first stitch right here and make a single crochet because they believe that it bulks a little bit when you have a chain on the side to turn your chain and then you make a stitch. I prefer it that way because it doesn't create a big hole, but I'll show you what other people do. So instead, and I'm pointing out the word instead of making a single crochet right in this stitch right here, they would create a second chain, 1, 2, therefore skipping this stitch right here and then going to the next one to create a single crochet, like that. Okay, so sometimes that creates a little bit of a gap, you can see right here, because nothing is in there. Okay, it works because now you have here that extra chain, okay, that you need to go into when you go back. So you can do it that way too. Now let me go back and show you how that works when you have other stitches. Okay, so I have a chain of 1 if I go into the stitch and create a single crochet, or I chain of 2 and I go into that stitch, which means I'm skipping a stitch because I already created a stitch with that chain. If I have a half double crochet, it's exactly the same way. Okay, I will still go into that stitch then. So if I skip the first stitch, for the double crochet, you would make a chain of 3 and skip that stitch. And that adds every time 1 extra stitch or extra chain for if you go higher and higher in that stitch count, right? So let's say I have a double crochet. I will skip the first stitch and I created the stitch simply by adding an extra chain. But do you see that it has that gap? And that's because, you know, you skip that stitch and then this chain is kind of a little bit further over. That's why I don't like it. So kind of pause this for a moment and see how this looks like. And let me go back and do it the way I always do it so you can see it. So now I have a, let's see, I have a chain of 2 right here as a turning chain. Okay, now I'm going to go into this stitch because I have a chain of 2, not 3. And now I'm doing my double crochet. Do you see that gap disappears? Here, let me do one more stitch. So that's why I don't like using the turning chain as a stitch. Do you see that? There is no gap. So that's why I like doing it this way. Okay, so I know I'm repeating myself, and feel free to re-watch the video if this doesn't make sense. So I'm going to just teach you the way I like to do it. I mentioned how other people do it, but I like it this way. Most people do it this way, actually. Chain of 1, and go in the first stitch right here by not counting the first chain. That's where you put your single crochet or half double crochet. And then you just keep on going. We know it has to be 9, so when I finish the row, I need to count again and make sure I have 9 single crochets. So I knew that in the beginning because either the pattern told me so, or my math in my head was right because I made a chain of 10, and one of the chains is the turning chain, and therefore I have 9 left. So let's count. 1, so the loop on the hook doesn't count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Definitely 9 stitches. So this piece, if I would go up and up and up, will always have 9 unless I do increases or decreases. Okay, so it should have 9 stitches in this example right here. That little loop right here is from the turning chain, okay, and it does not count. Only the ones that you see right here. Okay, so I hope this makes sense a little bit. So let me show you how this looks like when you have a half double crochet piece. Here's a half double crochet piece. Okay, I did 2 rows right here. So, and I have a chain of 1 already placed. So if let me zoom in a little bit again. So I have a chain of 1, and now I'm going to go into the first stitch, not counting the chain of 1, and do my half double crochets. Okay, simply as that. And then I'll go all the way to the end. So, and it finishes right here. This is where the last one is. Okay? You see how straight this is? Even though I'm using a turning chain, it is very straight. So in this case right here, I will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I had 8. That means I had 9 chains in the beginning. Okay, because 1 is a turning chain. Very simple. Now let me show you the double crochets. Okay, so I have a chain of 2 right here, and then go into that. I don't count the chains right there, and do my double crochet. Simply as that. And then you just keep on going. Make sure you're going through both of these loops right here of that V, unless it tells you only the front loop or the back loop. And I'll show you one more thing because some people don't know that. If you turn a little further, you see another loop right there. So let me show you a little closer up. Okay, you see, make sure that it's all sharp. So you have here your V, and then you have another stitch right here. So sometimes this stitch right here, let me kind of pull it up so you see it. This stitch right here is sometimes called the third stitch, the third chain behind the V, the third one. So if you count 1, 2, 3, the third one. So some people actually place a stitch right here. So you should know about where this stitch is. So the bigger the stitch is, in this case this is a double crochet, the easier it is to get to this. So you can see the stitch easily also for the half double crochet. Let me show you. It's right here for the half double crochet, right? For the single crochet, it is also there, but might be a little bit harder and trickier to get to. Okay. So here's the V's, right? If you turn a little bit, you see that loop right there. It's a little tighter because this is a smaller stitch. That little V right there, that little line. Can you see this? Let me see. Yes, you can see this. So that little line right here, that horizontal line right behind the V, that's the stitch I'm talking about. That's the third one. Okay, but that third one for a single crochet piece can be very hard to get to. So it is much easier when the stitch is bigger. So most people, you actually use it for half double crochets. So as I mentioned, so if you're looking at it from the front of your piece, this is the front, and then you're turning a little bit, it's right here, it's right behind that V. So, and then you, in this case here, you're just gonna keep on going, make sure you go through the 2 loops that are right there, that look like a V. Okay. Right there. And you're just gonna keep on going. Very simple, okay? So, very easy. Here, you might not be able to see it, but some people go into this one, and then sometimes they're not even see one. So that can be harder for the single crochet. Usually single crochets doesn't have the third one, because it's either not there or not hard to get there. So let me show you. I talked about this one first, but that would be on the front side. So let me show you on the back side. If you turn this, it's actually not there. And let me show you exactly where this loop is actually coming from. When you yarn over, that's the loop that is being used. So watch it, how it stays there. So you yarn over, you go through, yarn over, go through. Look, that's where the loop is, right there. Yarn over, go through. Look, that loop right there is from the yarn over, okay? From the last one, very last one. So for a double crochet, you're just gonna keep on going, in this case, right here. Okay, so what have you learned? Well, you learned quite a bit. You learned that in order to keep this straight, you need to make sure your count is properly done. You always have the count number, the stitch number that it either says on the pattern or you figured out how many it should be. And the chains right here need to be accurate. That means when you have a single crochet or half double crochet, it should be 1, for double crochet 2, treble crochet 3, and so forth. And in this case, when you have it this way, you don't skip that first stitch. You make a stitch into it, okay? And you're just gonna keep on going and do whatever you need to do, okay? And then that way it's always straight, as you can tell on this piece right here. It's very straight, no problems at all. It won't go in every direction, and it doesn't have any bulking out, okay? I hope you learned a lot from this video, and let me hold this. For some reason my camera is kind of out of focus when I don't do that. All right, I hope you learned a lot from this, and I hope you can simply leave a comment below if you're on YouTube, and let me know if this video was helpful. I hope it really was, and I know it's a little longer than normal, but I wanted to be as concise as possible. And like this video because it really does help me, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel and share this video with others so they get to learn it as well, especially for people who have trouble making this edge completely straight. Be sure to check out the link in the description because you'll learn a lot more, and there's more links to learn further information about crochet and tips and tricks and all those other things. Thanks for listening, you guys, and see you next time. Bye!